Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the place to be each and every Sunday night. We are here for round 6 of Sunday Night Lights, live and exclusive on Top Split TV. Now on Twitch, of course, here we have the biggest race of the week once again. I'm your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me tonight is the great one and only Mr. Tim Gorcrotter. Tim, big night of racing ahead of us here tonight from Motegi.
Good to be back after a couple of weeks in the seat, and of course appreciate Corey stepping in the I guess so Alex and I could have a go in the driver's seat again, but a huge soft tonight. All the good guns have come out, and a smaller field which just sort of pumped up those numbers a bit, and I'm excited, mate. I'm pumped for what's going to be a great call.
Yeah, mate, it's going to be a really good night. Really looking forward to it. Some fantastic drivers out there tonight. Guys really starting to show the support for what is becoming literally the place to be on a Sunday night if you're a Skip Barber driver. We have dominated the softs once again. We're at 42.96, just a tick under 4,300, which apart from the warm-up race that preceded this, has killed everything by about nearly 1,300, Tim. So the big players that are left in this series with this new tyre model have come out to support what is the best racing you'll find on the service, in my opinion, Tim.
Yeah, I agree. It's it might not have the number of races that MX5s have, 7-8 splits, whatever it may get, 150 entries, but the quality is, unmatched, I guess is what we're getting at. So, an event like tonight, an amazing group of drivers have come out, and no doubt going to put on a show. And, I got to say, I was involved last week, Alex. It's going to be tough for them to match what we put, or the clinic we put on last week, but I'm sure they'll do a great job, and as I said, mate, I'm pumped, ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. That race that you guys put on last week, one of the best we've ever seen, if I'm honest, and you and I were talking off air about it. Tough going out there to get through, but tough in a really satisfying way when you get some awesome people together on track, working your way through that kind of field. Can be a lot of fun, very satisfying when it goes right and gutting when it goes wrong. But and you, mate, you were all set there to grab the victory after Enzo Cander's incident on that final lap, and it got stolen from you there at the end, mate.
Yeah, and I felt for Enzo a bit because it obviously, he qualified a bit better than I did, but he put in the hard yards to really set himself up to be in the lead at the right time of the race. And the last lap got caught up with Sasha Golay. So unlucky for him, and I thought, you beauty, thanks very much. And I just unlucky. I take a different entry into one of the turns than a couple of the other guys, and that caught them out because it was the first lap that they'd really raced with me, So one of those things. Disappointing to not get some of those 244 points. I think I ended up with 140 or thereabouts, but one of those things. Not to worry. There's going to be other opportunities, especially if we're getting, 4.5K softs like we are tonight. Just huge. So my time will come.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. The softs are coming thick and fast for us, averaging over the 4K mark now for halfway through the season, which is a tremendous endorsement of our approach and what we're doing here on a Sunday night. And really, we do thank the drivers and the community for supporting this move to Sunday night. It's started off fantastically, and we're looking forward to continuing bringing this awesome action that is Skip Barber Racing here on iRacing. Just on riding along with John Scholz, Team Venom, who is the final driver here tonight in our 16-car field. Netted about 3,330 odd to crack it tonight. I know there are a couple of guys that have been working really hard to get in who've missed out. Shout out to Paul Beatty, who's won. He'll be grinding his teeth in the second split, but I know he'll come back stronger next week. Sammy J. Toy Carla here also made it in. He's snuck in here. We know Sammy J's got pace to burn and then some, but only car 14 here tonight, leading both the overall and the Monday night or the Sunday night lights standings, if I'm not mistaken. And currently though, he's sitting P2 provisionally behind Sergio Hidalgo, who's making his first Sunday night lights appearance for the season, Tim.
Yeah, and Sergio I've had the pleasure of racing with before, and, I know he's pretty quick, but that lap time at 2:11.8, nice way to start, good way to open the qualifying campaign. Of course, in Skip Barber and all the classes across the iRacing platform, qualifying is made up of 2 laps only, and you've got 8 minutes to complete them, including your out lap. So a good job by Sergio as Timu Vascalampi goes to the top. He found a great deal of pace, goes a second quicker than Sergio managed, but as everyone else flooding through now, it looks like it's going to be pretty hot in the last sort of 50 seconds, Alex.
Yeah, 2:10.8. That's an outstanding time in quali, let me tell you. Not many will match that. We're on board with Sasha Gourlay, who is sitting very high up in the standings overall. Let's see what sort of time he can put down as he comes through the final pair of corners here at 13 and 14, also known as Victory Corner, for obvious reasons. If you get it right, I suppose you can count on a victory if you're at the right end of the field. Let's see what sort of time Gourlay can throw up there. His first lap was a 2:12.4. He's a 2:10.8, just behind Toikala and Vascalampi, the two Finnish drivers finishing top of the pops here, locking out the front row on the grid with a 2:10.6 for Toikala, with just a tenth and a half behind was Vascalampi this time round. So these guys, as quali comes to a close, why don't I just take us through the grid, start to finish. We are here, of course, at Twin Ring Motegi for round 6. As we saw, pole position tonight went to Sammy J. Toikala, almost called his Finnish compatriot there. 2:10.6, incredible time here in quali these days. P2 tonight went to his Finnish counterpart, Timu Vascalampi, with a 2:10.8. Sasha Gourlay from Belgium, he's in P3 with a 2:10.8, also very tight at the top. Sergio Hidalgo, the only other driver able to crack a 2:10 tonight with 2:10.9. 5th place, Sebastian Schultz with a 2:11.7, some half second off the pace. Ben Snell from representing Team Milo here tonight, breaking the drought of poor qualities tonight with a P6. Great result for him. Håkon Grebstad similarly from Team Ovaltine up in P7. Toshimasa Hanada. Toshi had a great couple of races with me during the week. Really enjoyed it. Great to see him performing well here in P8. Simon Edwards from UK&I, car number 1 here, all the way down in P9. Expect him to move forward. P10, Cristobal Otero Roman from across Simart Competition, also streaming on YouTube if you check out K34 Sim Racer for him, as long as you speak Spanish, I warn you. Anyway, P11 went to Lee Anderson from UK&I with 2:12.4. Anthony Catt also from UK&I with a 2:13.2 as we switch over to the second page. Benjamin Rag Morello from Iberia with 2:14 dead. John Skoltz in P14 representing Team Venom Racing. P15 Arturo Amro from ANZ, although I've heard him speak Spanish too, so interesting one there. Enzo Cantor, Thrustmaster Mivano Racing. 2 out of 2 races here this week, unable to set a time. Strength of field here, 42.97, and the all-important track temp, 22 degrees. Interesting to see how we go as the guys now start taking the grid. I might see if I can get a camera angle and actually catch the start here this week. Let me just find a good angle there as the red light is on, the revs are rising, and we're away for the first of 11 laps here tonight, Tim.
Yeah, nice start by Sammy T as Timu comes in, protects the line in front of Sasha Gourlay. Interesting line by Sammy, sends it in really tight, but gets through nice and cleanly. All looking pretty safe out there, actually, which is what we want to see in a field of 16 cars. A very nice start indeed, Alex.
Yeah, look, the new time model, as harsh as some of the critics have been about it, what it has tended to do is get the first few laps of the race somewhat a little bit more cautiously completed, I should say. As we see side by side, we've got Grebstad and Snell, the Ovaltine Milo rivalry continuing on the run down to Turn 5 on the first corner, on the first lap, I should say, as they turn through here. Vascalampi's one to watch through here. He was leading the race last season, got it all wrong through that corner under the bridge and cost him what would have been a very good victory, no doubt. But he's got through there cleanly. Perhaps some of the demons or skeletons in the closet or similar out of the way this early part of the race, at least. Anyway, Tim.
Oh, and there's a spinner at the back, Alex. Not quite sure who it was. Might have been Toshimasa Hanada. Gets caught up. Not sure with which driver, but unfortunately for him, as he makes his way back onto the track from the grass. But he was running pretty closely with Cristobal Otero Rahman, and I think that might be who we got caught up with, unfortunately.
Yeah, Rahman just clipped him in the rear. He's locked his brace well enough, but there's been a couple of others caught up there too in the 12, and I think it might have been Grebstad as well that got caught up, unfortunately.
Ooh, bit of damage at the front. Sergio Hidalgo's off, as is, I think it looked like Timo Vescalampi.
There's a couple in the pits.
That's the case.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's a couple in the pits. Sergio and Kat, and sorry, go ahead.
Sammy Toykala, 1 second lead. This might be the opportunity he was looking for to get the break from Sasha Gourlay.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Hidalgo and Kat in the pits at the moment. Toykala leading from Gourlay. He has a 9/10 of a second lead. I'll see if I can't go back and grab that incident in a moment. Oh, I'm just trying to grab the moment. Oh, hang on. Come on. Give me a bit better. Oh, no. This replay button, I'll tell you what, it's giving me all sorts of grief. I'm going to try again. Sorry, go ahead,
Don't stress if you need to, mate. I'll give you the rundown, and that is that Timu did it all by himself. Got a bit sideways, as is the case with the new time model, and very, very difficult to catch it. And he wasn't able to. Fourth pedaled it, and nowhere for Sergio Hidalgo to go. And unfortunately, collected Timu, and it was all over.
I've got to tell you, I've just caught a replay. Timu got a touch. Vescalampi got a touch from the 7 car of Hidalgo on the entry to the corner. So that loser of the rear end was not actually self-inflicted. He got a touch from Hidalgo on the way in. And that, unfortunately, has ended their competitive night. And Hidalgo has now exited the service stage left by the looks there, Tim.
Yeah, not good for Sergio. And obviously a big whack of IR. Looks like he's going to cost himself, in fact, you know, somewhere in the 120 region probably. He's a good driver, and that's an unfortunate way to win the night. But Sammy T's in control still. Sasha and Seb Skolt's hanging in there as well, and Hawkon's working really hard. And while this group of, you know, half a dozen cars is stretched out, I'm going to say, Alex, I think they're all within about a second of each other.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing more than a second's gap, half a second in some cases between the top 6. So I reckon these guys will close up pretty soon and we'll have a really strong looking race as they start snaking their way. Sammy J looking to break the draft if he can. Gourlay's tucked right in behind. Behind him, Seb Skoltz as they come through the downhill right hand, also known as turn 11 or the 90-degree corner. And as they come through the closing section of lap 2, why don't we just bring up this overview of where everyone sits for the time being so people at home can keep up. Got Grebstad then sitting in 4th with Edwards in 5th and Lee Anderson on the tail end of this pack of 6 cars that makes up a very quick train as we head around turn 1 for the start of lap 3, Tim.
Yeah, just looking, Ben Snell's disconnected from the server, so something unfortunate has happened to Ben. I'm not exactly sure who he got caught up with, but I dare say, as I catch a bit of his replay, he's made a mistake entirely by himself, got caught up, and very fortunate to not involve too many other drivers, as Enzo Cantor found himself taking some very swift action and an off track to steer clear of Ben. So unfortunate for Ben, as a few guys are struggling to make ends meet at the challenging Twin Motegi circuit.
Yeah, I miscalled Grebstad before Team Island. There's a very similarly liveried car in Molero here. I mistook that for a Team Ovaltine car getting caught up with Hanada's incident previously, but he's just been passed by Cantor, who's charging through the field at the moment, up 6 positions, as is Amro and Skoltz just ahead of them. Skoltz tonight, he's chasing after the Division 2 championship overall, and I tell you what, 128 points for P8, probably not what he wants to clinch that title, probably chasing more like 160 odd if he wants to hold on to the top position there, but doing pretty well so far here, up 6 positions in P8, but he's got a hard charging pack behind him in Cantor, Amro and Molero, who, as we see Cantor come up the inside of the hairpin out the back at turn 10, looking to make the run on the down the straight, which has the alternate start position here at Motegi, all the way down the hill. Gets the move done early, but will have to defend on the way back. Jumping. Oh, Toykala's had a lose. We've just come back and caught Toykala self-spinning on the bottom of the corner exit of turn 10. I beg your pardon, turn 11 there. Let's go back and grab a look. It looks like he's done it all on his own, Tim.
Yeah, he has. Too late under brakes, locked the rear, got a bit sideways, nowhere for Sasha to go. And his car heavily damaged. I dare say it's not steering straight as he runs straight for pit lane and going to use that fast repair, one on offer for every race in the service. So unfortunate for Sasha. I'm sure his eyes lit up and thought, you beauty, here comes 250 points and a whole swagger I rating, but extremely unlucky to get involved in an accident that was really none of his business.
And I tell you what, you've got now a pack of 4 up the front, separated by about a sum total of 7 to 8 tenths. And once again, look at this, sneaky Mr. Håkon Grebstad, the car 10 in this race. He took out a fantastic result last week. I think it was P2 in the end. And he's slotted into second position once again. And I told you earlier on to watch out for Mr. Simon Edwards, the UK&I one-plated, top-rated driver here tonight, as he pulls up the inside there, shows the nose to Grebstad, through turn 6 at 130R, up to turn 7 now, through the S-curve as it's known, 7 and 8. Nice little run. If you time it well here, you can get a good little run out of here. Short straight on the approach to the very tight turn 9 here, Tim. Legit passing opportunity depending on what's going on, as is the next turn, the run up into turn 10, Tim.
Yeah, and I was just on board Simon Edwards. He's looking very, very comfortable. But I got to say, I reckon those two guys, Simon and Lee Anderson, they would have thought at the start of the race, wow, how are we going to make this come together? How are we going to jump 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 positions to get the big W tonight? And a couple of things have fallen their way, and I dare say Lee and Simon are feeling pretty comfortable right now about, we're 4 laps in, Alex. The race isn't even halfway, not even close, and so much has happened already. So if we keep up at this rate, no one's going to finish. But Håkon Grebstad, they were out in front, looking pretty comfortable, made a nice move up on Sebastian Scholz, who was qualified well, but I'm sure he didn't think he'd be up in first, second place halfway, not even halfway through the race, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely move down through turn 11 there by Håkon Grebstad. Another legit passing opportunity as it is into turn 1. Here's we see Simon Edwards showing the nose on Scholz there as they come around through the almost a double apex, but it is in fact two corners at 1 and 2 there. There's plenty of places to get some racing done here at this place, as we see Toykala now jump into the pits to repair that what rapidly became a Formula Ford without the rear wing, of course. But look at Grebstad now. He's driving beautifully. The pressure that Edwards is putting on really potentially distracting Scholz there, as Edwards once again showing the nose down the straight, almost as if to say, I'm here, but I'm not going to pass. Lee Anderson, of course, Road America round winner here earlier this season, looking to back that up tonight and certainly in with a good shot at it, sitting in this front pack there, Tim.
Yeah, he is. He did great at Road America, of course, qualified second behind yours truly. And yours truly threw it away, and Lee just ran away with it in convincing fashion. And he's looking really good. He's looking very strong out there. Bit of understeer through that right-hander, though, but no doubt at all Lee is extremely comfortable with the pace out there at the moment. The guy's lapping in the mid 2-minute 10 bracket. Lee, of course, fastest lap of the race with a 2:10.348. And at some point, I'm sure he's going to put some pressure on Simon as he takes a look up the inside, just shows the nose, nothing too serious, brakes nice and early. Just let Simon know that he's there as they run through the back section, downhill straight between turn 10 and 11, Alex.
Yeah, again, another place where you might want to leapfrog. Simon Edwards once again showing the nose, more perhaps out of defence than anything else, not really looking to make anything too much by way of an overtaking move. These guys really now settling in. Interesting lines now. Traditionally, the line there is to swing out right to the right. But these days, with the more grip that you have in these tyres early on, it's not necessarily the way, the fastest line anymore. It's interesting the different lines that you take with these new tyres, Tim.
Yeah, it is. There's obviously plenty of opportunities. at a track like this. Simon Edwards charks it up the inside of Seb Skolt's great move. Got a really nice run out of Victory Corner, as they call it, turn 14. Very nice. Took an off track but gained a lot of speed, and he was able to chuck it up the inside of Seb as Simon Edwards, P2, highest he's been this race, and he's staring down the back of Håkon Grebstad.
Exactly right. Grebstad's still leading this race, of course, but he has now got the number 1 plated driver, number 1 rated driver as well, of course, in Simon Edwards, tucked in behind. Again, showing the nose into turn 5 now as they come around. Very challenging. Personally, I find this the most challenging quarter on the track, but these guys handling it with ease, of course. The 10 plated car, Grebstad out in front with Edwards right on his tail now. Edwards dicing and weaving to show the nose at almost every opportunity. Finally made the move into turn 1 to shuffle himself one step close to that top step on the dice here tonight. We are now in the second part of this race. 5.5 laps remaining now as they dive now into turn 9. Again, no one making the passing opportunity that awaits there, although let's look at the 6 car of Lee Anderson now looking to go side by side with Schultz into turn 10. Can he get it done around the outside? Schultz defending the inside line. This could be costly in so much as the 2 in front might be looking to get away if these guys get too racy, Tim.
Yeah, and the gap has just gone 1 second, Alex. Surprising to see Lee and Seb not work together. I mean, there's plenty of time left, and like we've seen on so many of the tracks with longer straights where draft is, essential to go fast. If you lose it, forget it, you're done. There is no coming back from it, as Håkon and Simon still just on that 1 second bracket, and if anything doesn't quite go to plan for Lee, forget it, it's all over. And Lee, you're finishing 3rd or 4th, mate. There's no hope for the win. But silly to see those do not work together. Sebastian's run out of that left-hander, which I think was V corner, was compromised as he got very close to the back of Simon Edwards. And Lee saw the opportunity and thought, I'm going to make this happen. And he has now. He got a nice run through the downhill section after going around the outside on hairpin corner, turn 10. And so he's in P3, and it looks like he's just hanging on for draft range, 0.8 behind Simon Edwards, Alex.
Yeah, down to 0.7 now. They just managed to hold on to that. You're right. The run out of turn 9 was compromised. That's why I guess his hands was forced there to make the move. But now they've got to fight back to hang on to that position. Roman now running a solo race in P5, doing pretty well there. He's about 5 seconds behind, but he's also about 3.5 ahead of his nearest rival in John Scholtz. Enzo Cantor now up 9 positions, biggest mover in the field, sitting in P7, which, given he didn't qualify, is a sensational result, partially through his own driving, of course, partially through some of the instances. We see Vascalampi now having a battle with Molero now as they come through S-curve at 8 and 9, 7 and 8 I should say. Gourlay just behind them in P10, looking to similarly do a strong recovery. Arturo Amro, first time in the Sun and Night Lights field, not the result he was looking for. Car 11, P11. Toy Carla now again, another one on a recovery drive in P12 with Hanada chasing down P13 at the moment, although he's about 32 seconds behind Toy Carla, so that's probably about where he's going to finish, incidents notwithstanding. Jumping back up to the front, Anderson tucked about 9/10 of a second behind this leading pair of Grebstad and Edwards as they come through Victory Corner now at 13 and 14. And these guys are really working hard for their money tonight, Tim.
Yeah, they are. And surprising to see Håkon and Simon maintain that gap. Normally when you get a sniff of draft range, that throughout the lap you can just close that lap ever so slightly. But Lee Anderson last time round virtually did an identical lap time to the 2 cars in front. Håkon and Simon managing a 2:09.8 and a 2:09.6 respectively, their fastest laps for the race. Lee Anderson and Seb Skolt's 2:09.6 and a 2:09.5. So very, very fast times, but not really doing enough to bridge the gap. As with lap 8 of 11, Alex, running out of time pretty quickly.
Yeah, we're just jumping on board with Simon Edwards. Those times are lightning fast around here, although with 3.5 laps to go, I would expect to nudge closer to the 2:08s, depending on how these laps play out, as we see the guys now tuck in behind, or we see, sorry, Edwards tucking behind. I thought he might have a look there through turn 5, but alas, no, he's tucked in behind and just again showing the nose. There's no fear of the engines blowing up here at Motegi, but nonetheless, perhaps grabbing a gulp of cool air and a bit of a glimpse in the mirrors of Grebstad in front, just to let him know he's there, Tim.
Yeah, and Hawkon, I don't think that's, I mean, Hawkon's done plenty of racing, and I don't think that sort of stuff's going to phase him at all. Obviously, he won round 1 at Summit Point. So Simon, as much as he thinks he could probably put him off, I really doubt that's the case. And I think he's pretty keen, though. As much as he's showing the nose, those two know they need to work together. Otherwise, they're really going to open the door for Lee and Sebastian to get back involved. And, you know, for them to have that chance of the win tonight. So the gap is right on 1 second. So it's yeah, it's going to be close, Alex. Just on 3 laps to go now. As Simon runs very close to the back of Hawkon. A nice run down the hill, obviously using all the draft through the 90-degree corner, as Hawkon and Simon take very different lines through turn 12, the left-hander. Turn 13 obviously works out, sorry, 14 works out pretty well the same, regardless of entry, as those two try and run the hottest lap times they can. This time round, 209.3 and 209.3. Very, very quick. Found a bit of extra pace as a few runs out of the car. And Lee Anderson, though, fastest lap of the race at 209.266. Rocket quick lap time. But the gap, Alex, still 1 second.
Yeah, look, he was about a tenth faster than the guys in front. We saw Edwards really ducking out of the draft then to perhaps break the draft behind. They are oh so close to doing so. Seb Schultz and Lee Anderson tucked in behind. Anderson setting the fastest time of the race, as you said, 209.2. I expect these guys, if they keep cooking with gas like this, they're starting to play a bit of ducks and drakes down the straights with that draft. Deep under braking was Anderson that time, really looking to close the gap if he can. Don't know that it'll compromise his run out, but he is down to 7/10, so he did get the benefit of the deep braking there. Linus Stern compromises the deep braking of the guy tucked in behind in Edwards, but Anderson is free to brake as deeply as he likes. There were some beautiful lines from Simon Edwards there. He's hitting every apex, and I'm starting to wonder if he's biding his time to make the final charge at Grebstad in the closing laps, but is it costing him time? Because now that gap is that 7/10, which is about 2/10 better than it's been before, and they are well and truly in the draft now, Anderson and Schultz, Tim.
Yeah, it looks like a really, really good lap for the P3 and 4. Lee looks like he's very strong under brakes, and his corner entry is second to none as he, that gap now, half a second there. It's on, Alex, get excited. But no, Lee's looking great out there, and he hasn't gap step or anything, but you know, he's pretty consistently not under pressure from Seb Schultz. So I think Lee really is the driver with the best opportunity to steal a position off Simon or Hawkon. But Simon, like you said, looking very, very comfortable, and he manages that gap of a car length under brakes less than, gets right up under the wing, but he just manages it beautifully. So in complete control. But Hawkon's led the last handful, and I worry, Alex, for Hawkon, because I know there's a couple of places you can make the run, and I've seen moves made down the downhill straight, but of course out of 14 as they race towards the finish line, a number of cars have made it happen there, and the wins by the smallest of margins, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it was really evident there through the final couple of corners. Lee Anderson had a clean run at the braking zone, and again closing right up behind the front two of Grebstad and Edwards, really bridged that gap. He set the fastest lap of the race, undrafted last lap. Got a bit of sniff of the draft, the lap that's just gone by, and he's got a 209 dead. Who knows what he can do once the draft really kicks in now that he's right under tail. We've got the balance of 2 laps remaining, about 1.5 to go, and we are on like Donkey Kong, folks. 4 cars in this race now. Looks like Sebastian Schultz will be still in it, although he is just hanging on. I'll say just hanging on. The gap looks big, but it's actually only about 4/10. There's now Anderson right amongst it as they come through the S curve now on the run down to turn 9 for the penultimate time, Tim.
Yeah, he's looking pretty strongly, but I got to say, Alex, it's going to be challenging to make a move past 2 cars to get that big W tonight. And I think you're on the money. The gap for Sebastian isn't, you know, it's not great in terms of time. But I tell you, it's going to be hard for him to put any pressure on these guys. Hawkon's pace, though, out front is still really comfortable, 209.5 last time around. And I'm just keen to know where they're going to make the moves and who really knows what Simon's planning at the end of the day. I'm sure he thinks safest to run as close as he can through the last couple of corners and make a move up to the start-finish line, as we have just over 1 laps to go, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm just watching there again. You can see the nose-to-tail racing really compromises the braking of the guys towards the tail end of this 4-car train. You see Lee Anderson there really not... Oh, Edwards, he's run wide. What has that done? Let's hop on board Anderson now, or let's see what... yeah, it is. We're on board with Anderson now as he comes into... It didn't cost him as much as I thought. I thought he might have a look here. Oh, very deep under brakes. What's it going to do with his run on the way out? Again, forgetting the apex of turn 1, focusing on turn 2. It's given him a good drive, but is it enough? Looks like 2x2 in front. Grebstad taking the defensive line into turn 3 now, forcing Edwards to go around the outside. What have we got here? Anderson looking over the inside now as they go through turn 4. Can he get it done? Looks like side by side once again. Look at them. This is the last lap, folks. This is all the sheep stations on the line now as we see 3 wide into turn 5 now. No, Edwards backs out. Anderson going around the outside. Grebstad taking all the defensive lines and maintaining his lead, Tim.
Yeah, I don't know how those three haven't come together. I saw perhaps a bit of netco contact, but it is extremely close. And I've got to say, I haven't seen this before, but the run that these guys are getting out of the corners, unlike anything they've had previously, as Hawkon Grebstad pulls a small gap as Lee and Simon check up on each other. Sebastian looking for a way past, can't make it happen. He's out of it. There's no hope for a podium, I don't think, unless there's a bit of contact. But Hawkon has a small gap as Simon Edwards runs deep. Lee Anderson chucks it up the inside, a nice move. But those two, unless they can work together, and I think the best thing they can do is Simon take a bit of ascendancy and Lee just back off a little bit so they don't lose Hawkon completely, who has now got a 0.7 10th lead. Hawkon Grebstad put his name on the trophy, Alex. He has got this in the bag.
The race now is for P2 now. What can these guys do? Anderson now deciding to take the outside, leaving the door open for, beg your pardon, Edwards leaving the door open for Anderson up the inside. Throws it down into turn 11 now. Gets it done at the inside. It looks like he's going to take it now. Coming through side by side once again. Tiniest bit of overlap through 13 and 14 now. Victory corner going to Grebstad here tonight. What are these guys going to do? This place famous for very tight finishes. Grebstad will be your winner tonight. Bit of a wiggle over the line, and it is Anderson taking P2. Edwards taking P2 from Anderson, if I get my telemetry right, with Seb Schultz in P4.
In the back.
Whoa, it's all happening out the back, folks. I'll tell you what, that's a massive accident to finish. Why don't we go grab a bit of a look? Hang on, I think is Cantor involved? No.
Vasca Lampi.
Let's go and
Sasha
see.
Gourlay, John Scholz, and the big winner, Benjamin Malero.
Right, well, let's see what happens here. We're riding on board with Vasca Lampi now. Don't know that's going to give us an... Oh, he's run very wide out of the penultimate corner. And then they're 3 wide in front of him. Oh, and I can't grab the view. Where we go. Oh, Scholz missed it. Oh, it's... Oh, the 2 cars run... Oh, tell you what. That is messy. Who's the 2 car there?
Oh, Enzo Cantor has hit the back of, who is that? It is Sasha Gourlay, and he's upset in the chat. I tell you, he is not a happy camper. Enzo Cantor kept the right boot in it, and he is poleaxed Sasha. His run was compromised, but you've got to get out of it when you've got to get out of it. If you're going to make contact, particularly in these open wheelers, things are not going to end well, and Enzo has not had a great finish to the race. He is 3 or 4 cars damaged there, Alex, and a lot of unhappy drivers.
Yeah, that's right. See, just on board now with Cantor on the exit there. Yeah, he's just straight into the rear of Gourlay. These two have got some history too, let me tell you. Last week, revisited. These boys, yeah, that was the 2 that came together that decided almost the race. Last week certainly took Enzo from the jaws of victory, came defeat. And the guys in the background there, Scholz, Vasca Lampi, and sailing through, as you say, was a 13 car of Malero. I'll tell you what, those two put on a big run into the final few corners, and Cantor and Gourlay coming together once again to round out this race, Tim.
Wow, what a finish. Of course, Håkon Grebstad, let's not take anything away from him. He was unchallenged through the second half of the last lap, and a fantastic result. Obviously, a huge bag of points, not to mention I rating with the 4K soft. And he's right on. He's a mid-pack driver based on the I rating tonight. So a fantastic result for Håkon, but disappointing way to end the race for that pack from 8th through to 11th. 8th through to 10th, sorry. Enzo Cantor, I think he's probably pretty happy in the end. He got 6th, up a lot of places, up 10th, but he got involved in that bingle. Obviously, it was his bingle. And unfortunate to take out Sasha, and of course John Scholz and Timmy Vascalampi had nowhere to go. And as I mentioned before, Benjamin Malero up 6 for the race, but it was looking not so great for him. But he was really lucky to grab 4 places on the last lap.
Absolutely. Let's go and see where our drivers have finished here tonight. Håkon Grebstad, the Norwegian, representing Team Ovaltine here tonight, taking out a famous victory. All that skill and pace behind him as well, all to naught as he drove some beautiful defensive lines in that final lap, and all the guys behind squabbling amongst the scraps in the end. P2, Lee Anderson, really strong drive after almost losing the draft there. Fought very hard with his UK and I compatriot for the final 2 steps on the podium in Simon Edwards, finishing 2nd and 3rd respectively. Fantastic drive in the closing laps by those two, but unfortunately only 2nd and 3rd. Sebastian Schultz finished P4 tonight, just 9/10. The top 4 within a second on the line. Fantastic driving by those guys. Cristobal Otero Roman from across Simart Competition. He's finished in P5 tonight. Solid drive, although a bit of a lonely one by the looks of it there for his YouTube viewers on K34 Sim Racing, or Sim Racer, I think. Enzo Cantor, representing Thrustmaster Mirvano. Interesting to hear what Enzo's got to say shortly as he's waiting in the green room. He'll have his view on that one. It'll be interesting to hear what it is in P6 tonight. P7, one of the luckiest drivers, it has to be said, up 10 spots, taking advantage of that last corner incident. Benjamin Raig Molero from Iberia. P8 tonight, Timo Vascalampi licking his wounds for sure. P9, Sasha Gourlay, the Belgian, similarly. And Enzo looking to perhaps rekindle that rivalry next week. We'll see what happens. P10, John Scholz, Team Venom Racing. Not the P8 and the points he was chasing here tonight, perhaps, but pretty strong performance inside the top 10 in the strongest field of the week. Sammy J. Toy Carla down in P11. Again, self-inflicted wounds tonight for Sammy. Bad luck for him. P12, Arturo Amro. Says ANZ, but again, the best Spanish-speaking ANZ driver I've ever heard. Toshimasa Hanada. Toshi tonight only managing P13 after having some fantastic pace during the week. P14, Team Milo's own Ben Snell, again, not the race he was looking for. Sergio Hidalgo from Iberia, again, very strong racer, not the result he was chasing here tonight. Neither. Anthony Catt from UK and I in P16. Once again, that strength of field, 42.97, biggest bumper crop of the week. Fastest lap of the race, Sammy J. Toykala, 2:08.9. There you go, folks. My promise was a 2:08 later in the race, and Sammy J's delivered, even if he could not grab the chocolates here tonight, Tim.
Mate, and he probably did it without draft too. Knowing Sammy, outrageous pace, very, very quick. But like I found out at Road America, like Sammy's found out tonight at Twin Rig Motegi, is you can't afford to put your foot in it. Can't make a mistake. Even the littlest ones are going to bite you. And unfortunately, he got caught up tonight. A small mistake involved with Sasha, and that was it, all over for those two. So good on Sammy. He and I get on pretty well, and I think there's a bit of a if you can't get the win, as long as you get the fastest lap, that's what matters. So I know that when we don't win, that's all we care about. So good on you, Sammy. 2:08.966, a good result, and I'm sure he'll do better next time.
Yeah, absolutely. As I try and get us back to a point in the race to have, there we go. and we'll watch these guys drive around a bit while we grab some interviews from our drivers here tonight. We will start with our race winner, of course. We'll hop on board with Mr. Grebstad. Håkon Grebstad. That's a race one to go down in the books, mate. I know you've had one or two of these wins, but really strong defensive performance in those closing laps, mate. Tell us how it unfolded for you.
Oh yeah, I really didn't expect to get up there this race, but fortunately for me, the top guys had issues, and we kind of inherited the lead. Me and Simon Edwards, we just kind of drove it to the final lap, and yeah, as you said, defend.
Yeah, mate, those lines there at the end were really strong, and it forced the guys to fight amongst the scraps for themselves in the end, mate, and that they did, leaving you a clear run to the line. Top four only separated by a second, but that was enough for you to get a 7/10 win, if you can believe it. So that's pretty strong racing there in the final lap.
Yeah, for sure. The battling between me and Simon ended up, letting Lee and Sebastian get close. And once they got into it, I was hoping it was going to slow them down, and surely it did through the S's there, and just drove it home after that.
Well, mate, sometimes driving it home is all it takes. Famous victory for Team Ovaltine here tonight, mate. A bunch of points. I reckon that's going to put you on top of the official season, if not Sunday Night Lights, mate. 100 I rating plus as well, mate.
Oh,
that's some stuff to chock in the bank there for you tonight, mate. Congratulations on the victory. Oh. Great driving. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Oh, thanks, Alex. I got to thank you guys for doing the broadcasts. Every Sunday now. It's just my favorite race of the week, every week. So, thanks to you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Håkon, mate. Thanks to you too for supporting the series, even all the way through from Mondays now and Sundays. Of course, you can make it. We really do appreciate the support, mate. And congratulations once again.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
There you go, Tim. Look, I've got to say, quality drive from Håkon there tonight. I thought his drive in the last lap there was really strong, and the runs are now on the board.
Yeah, they are. And he's had a couple of wins too. What are we? Round 5, round 4, round 5, round 6. Sorry, week 6, and 2 really good, strong wins for Håkon. So, congratulations to him. And as he said, he held off some very good pressure from Simon, side by side for a number of laps, and did really well. But similarly, it takes a really good driver to not ruin a race. And Simon, he knew when to back out of it. And I'm talking about between 9 and 10, the run up to the to hairpin curve, where Håkon had Lee on the left and Simon on the right. And Simon, he could have sent it up the inside, and they would have gone 3 wide and probably taken each other out. So he saw better of it. So congrats to Simon for that. Takes a lot of racing brains, whatever they call it. He did really well to not get involved. And unfortunate for him, I think he deserved second tonight. He drove really well, really smart, and but Lee Anderson, he got the bickies at the end of the day. So well done to him.
Yeah, Simon Edwards, high race IQ out of that, I thought as well. Might have given up, first or second out of that. But again, he's about a 6.5 I rated driver, car number 1 in here. And as I often say, they don't give those sort of I ratings away for free in cereal packets. So again, smart racing there from Simon. We hope to see more of him in the coming weeks for sure. Now, who else have we got in the booth here in finishing order? I've got Mr. Cantor, I believe is next. Enzo Cantor. Mate, you and Sasha, you seem to be coming together an awful lot this season, mate, and not in a good way. Tell us what happened there in your race tonight, mate.
Well, I'm not proud for what happened today, and well, in this track, I was almost sure I had found my pace in practice sessions, but today when I tried to do races, I found hotter weather, and I had very difficult to qualifying, losing the car in the first in the laps. So I didn't get a qualifying lap in the last two races, so I was in a trouble. During the race, very uh, lap after lap, I was finding my confidence and pace, and I tried to remain alive till the end in order to recover the more positions I could do. And finally, yeah, it was my mistake. Sasha did a very nice pass and move in the last corner, and simply I was down on the throttle exiting the corner because I was trying to cross the lines or to follow him and using his draft to pass him before the finish line. But obviously, I misjudged his speed, and we were very close, and I did a mistake. So my mistake, and I'm very sorry for that. Also because he is sure I did it on purpose, but I didn't. And well, surely a mistake. That I would not to do a mistake like that, but I did, and I'm very sorry for that.
Thank you, Enzo, mate. As always, we appreciate your honesty there, mate. I know that you come up full of heated passion last week when the roles were reversed, and fantastic that tonight you can come up and step up and say when you made the mistake as well. So look, we always do appreciate your support of this series, mate, and your honesty as well as your analysis, because I think you're generally pretty spot on with what you're saying the vast majority of the time. So hopefully, for your sake, the qualies can get a bit better. You can get in amongst the area of the field that you're more accustomed to, and we can see you back up the front in the coming weeks, mate. So thank you again for your support. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yes, surely to my team, Trasmaster Mivano Racing, my team manager Fabio Mantellini, all my teammates, you, and all my rivals, to Sasha too, because well, I hope this rivalry will finish in a better way than today. Today I did a mistake. Last week he did a mistake. I hope we will be fair rivals in the future. So I say sorry again, and good luck to him for the next races.
Awesome. Thanks, Enzo, mate, and we look forward to speaking to you in the coming weeks. There you go, Tim. I've got to tell you, I do appreciate someone who takes responsibility. I've got to tell you, like I said there to him, I do appreciate Enzo. He calls it like he sees it, rightly or wrongly. When he's in the wrong, he calls it out. When he feels he's been a bit hard done by, he does the same thing. I know he has got a bad rap in the past sometimes, but I'll tell you what, I've just seen him take some amazing avoiding action of a spinning Milo car there in Ben Snell as well. He's certainly had an adventurous race here tonight, if nothing else.
Yeah, and I know Enzo wears his heart on his sleeve, and I like that about him. Like you're right, he tells it how he sees it, whether good, bad, indifferent, or accurate or not. It's he tells it how he feels, and that's terrific. It's and whether tonight, deliberate as Sasha feels, a genuine accident or not, it's great to have Enzo race. He brings plenty of excitement, and he's a very, very good driver at the end of the day. So good to have him involved, of course. And those things, I hope those two sort out their bad blood in the coming weeks, and whether, I don't think it matters who wins. At the end of the day, we just want to see a good, clean, hard battle, and I'm sure those two can make it happen. So good to have them involved, of course. Sasha too, and I'm sure they'll both be back next week.
Yeah, he's hoping. Now, I have got one more of the top split drivers. I'm struggling to find his car on track. However, Mr. Ben Snell is joining us representing Team Milo. Ben, mate, you got a quality time in this time, but then it's all come unstuck, mate. What's going on?
Pure operator issue tonight, I think.
Yeah,
I
mate. Sorry, go ahead.
I managed to not bin the quali for once, and then I just bin the race instead.
Yeah, mate. I caught that, and I saw. We just got a glimpse of Enzo taking some pretty amazing action, or what should I say, avoiding action as he spun under the bridge towards the end there, mate. Tell us, is that where it all came unstuck, or was there something after that?
No, that's where I old F forward. I just overdrove the car on cold tyres, unfortunately, just trying to push it a little bit harder than I should have been, and grabbed a bit of curb while the car was unsettled, and it just spat me around.
Yeah, that's a shame, mate. Still, I know this tyre model and the way the physics work in the car at the moment are really working against people such as yourself. But we do appreciate you, sticking with us and coming out each and every week to give it another crack, mate. So I'm hoping that in the coming weeks you'll get a bit of a run or a better rub of the green, so to speak, mate. But representing Team Milo, nonetheless, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Oh, of course, you guys for putting the broadcast on. It's going so well that I'm almost going to end up in the second split at this rate. So I need to start farming some races, I think.
Yeah, mate, it's getting close, isn't it? It's starting to get a fine line, although you had a good win during the week that I saw, so hopefully there's more of that to come as well, mate. So thanks for joining us once again, mate. We look forward to talking to you more in the coming weeks.
Catch you guys.
There you go, Mr. Gorkrotcher, Team Milo's own Ben Snell, not the racer he was looking for here tonight. But I tell you, like you said earlier in the season, we were talking about it off air tonight, it's these guys that just get out there and have a race, in these fantastic cars. I know we're going through a bit of a bumpy patch with the tyre model, but just get out there and have some fun. That's the goal, right?
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. And, I know for at least half the field, those who weren't involved in accidents, be it their fault or not, those who weren't involved had a blast. It can't be questioned that they enjoyed themselves, So good on them. And, of course, I think Ben soon's going to realise that commentary is where his future is, not iRacing. He'll jump off the Team Milo bandwagon. That's without a shadow of a doubt, there's no future there. And I'm sure he'll find himself in the top split commentary box in no time at all.
Who knows? We'd be better for it at some nights, I'm sure, as well. He would too. So, anyway, we'll see how we go. I'm going to bring up the earthy racer himself, Mr. Paul Beatty, who I've got to tell you, he's pretty unlucky not to crack the top split. Let me see. What was it? 3,340 or 3,330 I'd got you in. He was 3,200 or something, so he would have been up near the top of the second split. Let's get him up now. Mr. Paul Beatty. I tell you what, mate, I know you've been working hard. You were so close. Tell me, what was the car number in the second split tonight for you? Oh, no, he's done it again to me. He's got to switch over his mic. He races in VR and he doesn't have the mic set up for me. Are you there, Paul? Oh, hang on.
Hello?
There we go. Come on, mate.
I always get it wrong, man. Sorry.
That's all right, mate. Tell me, how'd you go in the second split tonight? Car number and result, please.
Yeah, car number 2. So the small split did me no favours tonight. No Easter miracle, but I finished second, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, nice job, mate. Well, hopefully some good points in the bag and some good I-rating as well. I know you're working your guts out to get in here, mate. I thought tonight was going to be your night, but I tell you what, these races keep turning up. And making this thing bigger and bigger, so it's lifting the bar, mate. But like I kind of hope is happening all around the joint, it's bringing people like your good self with it and improving the racing as a result, mate. So a good podium for you here tonight, and hopefully a good run at the title next week.
Yeah, it was a good fun race. I'm having fun driving the skippies at the moment. There's a lot of nice racing, so. Yeah, it's not like it's a slog trying to get into the top split. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And that's what it's all about. That's what this category does. It's a journey category. Get out there, have some fun, wheel-to-wheel racing with some good people as well, like yourself, mate. So thank you for joining us here tonight, mate. Anyone you'd like to give a shout-out to before we let you go?
The usual FNRC mob and Edwin and his mob too. And you lot for putting it on. Cheers, Alex.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Paul, mate. And we look forward to speaking to you further from a seat in the top split in the coming weeks, mate.
Cheers, man.
There you go, Tim. That about wraps us up here by way of interviews and for the race as well. Closing thoughts from you, sir, on what was a pretty good night of racing.
Yeah, it was. He, certainly delivered, but at the end of the day, disappointed for Sammy and Timu. Would have liked to have seen. I mean, I know Sammy did well during the week, and I think the prior race tonight, he was untouchable. So obviously, outrageously fast. We know he's so good. That one mistake can cost you. And of course, Hawkon there to capitalise for the second time. Yeah, he's doing great. So congratulations to him. But personally, I want to see a bit more from John and Ben, those sort of guys, flying the Aussie flag. And this is the ANZ SOF, and we're just not representing like we need to. So all in good time. I'm sure those guys will get up there, and I know Ben's certainly got the pace. He's won it before plenty of times. A good race at the end of the day. It was hard, perhaps not the last lap we were looking for, but exciting nonetheless. Plenty of action, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, shout out to the second split guys, as has been called out in the chat. I hear Mr. Kevin Henderson, who's been, of course, Sunday and Monday Night Lights regular since the get-go, relegated to the second split in recent times, and he's cooked another engine, which I thought he was out of the habit of doing, but that's a shame for him. But hopefully, like you say, some of those regulars that we are used to seeing in these broadcasts will make an appearance in the not too distant future. The local club guys getting the run as well. We've got the big guys coming from overseas. Let's get some of those local guys in there. Well, keep working as well. Keep working hard, guys. We look forward to seeing you in there soon. Just before we go, guys, this race, of course, will be uploaded to YouTube. I need to fix that name. It's the Top Split on YouTube, not Sunday Night Lights, but if you search for that, no doubt it'll turn up as well. Join us in the Discord community. The link's just there on your screen now. If you have a team name or you're a regular in here and you want us to have your team featured when we pull up the results and the grid and the driver spotlight and things like that, let us know in the Sunday Night Lights channel here at the Top Split Discord community. Check out the podcast, Top Split Podcast, at thetopsplit.com, and join the conversation over at Facebook as well. Here, of course, is where you'll see this race on Twitch and also my own races here. Did a couple here this week at Motegi, and that was a lot of fun, I can tell you. AJ, who's had a computer blowout, he's not with us at the moment, but when he is racing, you can find him in AJ_77 on Twitch. Similarly, our regular recent co-commentator in Corey Steinhauser, the chaotic one himself. Corey Has No Life 13 is where you find him on Twitch when he hasn't had a computer blowout as well. I'll tell you what, there's a bit of it going around at the moment. But, folks, that'll just about do us. If you like what you're seeing, give us a follow. Maybe think about supporting the channel with hitting the sub button as well. All of that helps to bring us these broadcasts, make them bigger and better in the coming weeks. But for now, I've been your host, Alex McKellar, and once again joining me in the booth was Mr. Tim Gorkrocher. And on behalf of Tim and myself, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for contributing and participating in the series. And until next time, I will say ciao for now.